he is, Lionel Messi, sitting next to his longtime teammate, his close.
The world thought the nightmare was over after 2022, and the FIFA World Cup would finally move on without him. But then, the whisper started again. The same name, the same fear. Lionel Messi is no longer supposed to be the center of the game. Yet somehow, every road still seems to lead back to him. Entire nations quietly rethink their dreams. And just when you think this time it's different, football gives you the same chilling reminder.
Works it across, now Messi. Lionel Messi by Sanabria, gets the shot away, goal!
The football world spent the last 3 years quietly building a funeral for Lionel Messi. And the strangest part is that he was never actually in the casket. They put Lamine Yamal on every magazine cover they could print. They handed Vinícius Jr the keys to Brazil. They told Jude Bellingham, Pedri, and Jamal Musiala that the throne was already empty, that all they had to do was walk over and sit on it whenever they felt ready. And then somebody quietly checked the throne, and it turned out that the old king had never actually gotten up from it. That is the part of this story that genuinely unsettles me. Because the football establishment spent so much energy promoting what was coming next that almost nobody bothered to verify whether what was here before had actually left. Messi did not retire. He did not slow down. He did not fade into a sentimental version of himself signing shirts for tourists. He moved to Florida, watched the football world write his obituary in real time, and then went and produced numbers that no human being his age has ever produced in the history of the sport. Right now, there are tactical meetings happening inside the dressing rooms of France, Spain, England, Germany, and Brazil that nobody wants to admit are happening. Coaches are pulling up video clips. Analysts are drawing arrows on tactical boards. Young defenders are being told very quietly that this is the one player they cannot afford to ball watch against, even for half a second. And the man causing all of this quiet panic is a 38-year-old who has not played a competitive match in Europe in 3 years. Let me give you a statistic that broke my brain the first time I sat with it. In the year 2025, while playing in Major League Soccer at the age of 38, Lionel Messi recorded 29 goals and 19 assists across just 28 regular season matches. That gave him 48 goal contributions and made it the second highest single-season total in the entire history of the league. People love to say that it is just MLS, that the defending is softer over there, that nobody is really tackling him properly. And to be fair, there is a small piece of truth buried somewhere inside that argument. But the thing nobody seems to want to say out loud is that 38-year-old footballers are not supposed to be doing anything remotely close to this in any league anywhere on the planet. He won the Most Valuable Player award back-to-back, the first player in the history of that league to ever do it. He won the Golden Boot with 29 goals, 28 of which came directly from open play in light blue. Something strange has been happening to this Argentina team over the last 2 years. The team has been getting better at the exact same time that its best player has been getting older. Statistically, tactically, mentally, in every way you can measure it, this group has been leveling up while Messi walked deeper into his late 30s. The qualifying campaign in South America was the longest road in international football, 18 matches stretched across almost 2 years. And Argentina finished at the top of the table with 38 points, 31 goals scored, and only 10 conceded. They booked their place at the tournament with 4 matches still left to play, and the top scorer of the entire South American qualifying campaign was Lionel Messi at the age of 37. Then, in March of last year, something happened that I do not think people sat with long enough. Argentina played Brazil at the Monumental in Buenos Aires. Messi was injured and watched the match from his home in Miami, and his team won 4-1. That result became the heaviest defeat Brazil has ever suffered in the history of World Cup qualifying. Before the match had even kicked off, Rafinha had publicly told Brazilian media that his team was going to give Argentina a beating. Argentina, without their captain, without their talisman, without the face that sells every shirt in the country, walked into their own stadium and humiliated Brazil over 90 minutes. After the final whistle, Julián Álvarez said something to a reporter in the mixed zone that I have not been able to get out of my head. He said that maybe, with Messi on the pitch, his team could have scored 2 or 3 more goals than they did. That single sentence is the entire tactical thesis. The defending champions are devastating when their captain is not even on the field, which can only mean that they become genuinely unsolvable when he is on it. Lionel Scaloni took over Argentina in 2018 with no head coaching experience at the club level, and people inside the country openly laughed at the appointment for the better part of a year. 8 years later, he has won a Copa América, a finalissima against Italy, another Copa América, and the World Cup itself. What I find genuinely incredible about Scaloni is something he said in a tactical interview a few months ago. He explained that he is not the kind of coach who builds the system around himself. He builds it around the actual players he has in front of him. That sounds simple when you read it, but it is not, because most modern coaches do the exact opposite without realizing it. Scaloni understood that Messi at 38 needed protection rather than pressure, that he needed a midfield that would let him walk between actions and then explode in the moments that actually mattered. So he built that midfield. Enzo Fernández breaks lines from deep, Alexis Mac Allister controls the tempo, and Rodrigo de Paul does the running that Messi used to do himself back in 2014. And then there is Emiliano Martínez, the goalkeeper everyone calls Dibu, the man who has never lost a single penalty shootout he has ever played for Argentina. Colombia in 2021, the Netherlands in Qatar, France in the final, Ecuador at the next Copa América. Nicolas Otamendi once described him with a line that made me laugh out loud. He said, "Dibu is an animal who is prepared for the key moments." And honestly, that is exactly the teammate you want next to you in a knockout tournament, because the man does not just save penalties, he climbs inside the heads of the people about to take them. For 3 years now, the football world has been preparing the audience for the next generation. Yamal, Vinícius, Bellingham, Pedri, Musiala. Designer brands signed them. Magazines covered them. Pundits wrote the obituary of the Messi era starting back in 2021. Then in May this year, something funny happened. At an Adidas event tied to a new World Cup advert that featured both Messi and Lamine Yamal standing next to each other, Messi was asked which young player most reminded him of himself. He named Yamal directly without hesitation. He said there is no doubt in his mind that for him, Lamine is the best player of this new generation. Think about how confident a man has to be to publicly give that endorsement 3 weeks before a World Cup he himself is still going to play in. That is not a man passing the torch on to his successor. That is a man holding the torch up so the whole stadium can see how steady his hand still is. And while we are on the subject, Yamal tore his hamstring in April playing against Celta Vigo, and Spain is now expecting him to miss the opening group stage matches completely. The generational war the football industry promoted for years has run into the most awkward possible reality. The old king is healthy. The young challenger is injured. There will be 48 teams, 104 matches with 3 host countries spread across an entire continent. This is the biggest World Cup in the history of the sport, and it was designed almost architecturally for speed, for youth, for the next generation of athletes. Argentina drew Group J. They open against Algeria on the 16th of June in Kansas City. They play Austria on the 22nd of June in Dallas. They finish the group stage against Jordan on the 27th of June, also in Dallas, 3 days after Messi turns 39 years old. The grand final is scheduled at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on the 19th of July. 5.5 weeks of football, played in the brutal heat of the American summer. With travel between cities he has never played a competitive match in before. Every tactical advantage that exists in this tournament was supposed to belong to the young teams, the high-pressing teams, the athletic teams that fly around the pitch for 90 minutes. And then you actually listen to how the coaches of those teams are talking about Argentina right now, and the picture starts to shift in a way that is genuinely unsettling. The serious Messi problem this World Cup has, all over again, is that the man who once had to carry Argentina by himself is now being carried by them. And the team that is carrying him is the best one any of them have ever been part of in their lives. The trophy is already sitting in his house. The map to the next one runs through Kansas City and Dallas and New Jersey. The pundits, the rivals, the young challengers, and even the bookmakers have all started talking already. And the man at the very center of all of this has barely said a single word in public. That silence is the most dangerous thing in world football right now. Tell me in the comments what you genuinely believe is going to happen. Does Messi win this World Cup, or does the next generation finally take the throne from him?